journalist on the panel. I think that was really sorely lacking, because what we've ended up doing is accepting facts as face value from the TTC and others. And God bless the TTC, but they're very conservative. I'm not sure I should say that as a conservative myself, but they're very conservative and they're risk averse. So you've got a set of numbers that overestimate, in our view, TTIL and the consultants that Metrolinx use, they're overestimated, and they actually try to dilute the city planning advice and opinion as well, because you're either going to look at a glass that's half full or half empty. You can use figures that are current and that project certain densities, or if you have faith in the future and the faith and confidence in what this city can do, are unarguably the economic engine of Toronto, and unarguably one of at least a half dozen economic engines in the country, why would we not go down the path of looking at using private sector funding by the P3 model? Once and for all, find out whether the private sector is blowing smoke when they say they want to come to the table. You only need to delay it 6 to 12 months. That's all that's going to be required. So for councillors and people who profess to be concerned about the taxpayer dollar, why wouldn't you go down that road? Why wouldn't you go down that road once and for all? Find out, is the traditional procurement method used by the TTC the best way to fund infrastructure, or is a P3 model? Once and for all, you'll find out. And I'm afraid that when I look at innovation and creativity, seldom if ever does it come from an older, established institution. So if you're going to get innovation and creativity, why not harness it from the private sector? I'm not saying our numbers are absolute or anybody's are absolute, but why would the city fathers and mothers not do that?
Mr. Chong, what would you say to the analogy that you don't need a 40-passenger bus to move 6 people?
I'd say you're right.
Isn't that what a subway is?
No, because you're looking at something that's present. If you look out into the future, 50 to 100 years plus, and you look at the whole life cycle cost, capital and operating, and you divide those by the total benefits, not by the way it was done in this study, where individual benefits were divided into it, and they were not taking into consideration whole life cycle costs. If you do that, Subway actually, and the projections, actually do fairly well. And we should be looking 50 to 100 years out. Why would you build something that you may rip up in 20 to 30 years?
Dr. Chong, do you agree with the mayor's assessment that this panel was biased?
That's a pretty strong word. I would say that panel members, including myself, had publicly proclaimed a certain inclination towards supporting either LRT or Subway. I mean, they're on the record. That's on the public record, that they in fact had either signed or made that announcement. That isn't my issue. My issue is using numbers that may be underestimated, or the projections may be underestimated as well. So that is my issue. Nothing is cast in stone. There is no such thing as black and white. Professionals differ all the time. Accountants differ, healthcare providers differ, lawyers, accountants, all kinds of people differ. And as Eric said earlier, once you read it, you've got to make up your own mind. But let's look at the substance of the report before we proclaim this is the one and only way to proceed.
Dr. Chong, is this not just a further rationalization of an a priori decision?
You want to put it in those terms, but as I said, there was clearly a public articulated inclination towards either LRT or Subway.
Was it objective? Was it objective?
It was as objective as humans could possibly be, I suppose, under the circumstances.
Thank you, Gordon.
Well, Eric speaks for the panel. He doesn't speak for the dissenting opinion.
I think I made that clear.
Anyone can answer my question?
But, I think the agreement had been that the other panel members will speak independently, particularly once the matter's before council. If you wish to, I don't think anybody else had agreed to speak now from this podium, if they wish to speak.
I don't know. Yeah, she didn't like that.
So, Dr. Miller, Professor Miller has spoken for the panel. We approached this with an open mind, and we sought the facts as much as we were able to within the time given. We really want to commend the mayor and council for raising the issue of transit and transportation for this city. We believe that Toronto is a global city, that Toronto has a difficult issue to solve, and that is how will we pay and fund the necessary infrastructure that we need to service the needs of the city for now and for the future. When we examined the numbers in particular, it was a consensus of this panel that the LRT option is the choice for the ridership, for the funds that are available, and also for time frame in terms of the impact on the community, and for equity issues as well, bringing rapid transit, a higher order of transit to more people across the city. So Professor Miller has expressed the consensus view of the panel, and it's based on the information that was presented and which we've made available to everybody online as well.
Mitzi, could you introduce yourself, please, for those?
I'm Mitzi Hunter, I'm the CEO of Civic Action.
Great, thank you very much. I think that concludes our event for today. Thank you.